Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we are going over the 4-game NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings. Before we continue, you guys can leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out, really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheet, I build every single night for the NBA season, projections, values, my cheat sheet, defense versus position chart, all the stats you need, color-coded, and my Discord where you can hang out and chat all day. Links available in the description below for my Patreon, and I think that's about it. And if you're playing NFL, check out the NFL videos today. I got two videos out for my core plays and then my lineup building exercise video. So I recommend checking those out. And without further ado, I say we get right into the video. So it's a smaller slate and there's not a lot of great options. But my top spend up, I think you can play Bradley Beal for sure. You can always play Bradley Beal. Washington games tend to be high scoring. He's been pretty good recently, besides one game. Kawhi Leonard, I just don't typically play Kawhi Leonard. I know he's obviously a great basketball player, but I don't know. I just don't play Kawhi Leonard. I played him once this season when he was like 95% owned just because the slate dictated you pretty much had to play the guy. But my top spend up as of right now, I'm not saying you can't play the top two guys as well, but my top spend up right now is Nikola Jokic at 9,200. And I know it feels gross because he has not been great this season. He has been very inconsistent, but he has had two nice games in a row, which I do like to see. Versus Boston, he had 64. Versus Houston, he had 47. He actually scored 27 real-life points in that game, and he had a triple-double versus Boston. So that's nice to see. Two nice games in a row. And he's on the season, he's getting about 30 minutes per game. Doesn't typically see the big minutes like guys like James Harden sees, or off the top of my head, or the big name guys. So, but he's getting about 1.33 points per minute, which is not too bad, not great or anything, but it's not too bad. And getting about 30 minutes per game, 26% usage rate, but it is a good matchup here versus Phoenix. They are 23rd versus centers this season, and it is a pace-up spot. I do like getting guys in pace-up spots. They are 8th in pace-up play, and Denver's 26th, so definitely a big pace-up spot there. And earlier in the season, I played Jokic versus Phoenix. I believe it was the second game of the season. He dropped over 60 points versus them and got a triple-double. It's too early. It's too far away, long ago in the game log, 10-game game log, so it's not going to be on DraftKings, but he had a big game versus them, not recently, but earlier in the year in October. So Nikola Jokic, I like him a lot, and I do expect him to be pretty popular, but I do think he's a very good play on this slate. Then scrolling down a little bit, Paul George, I think he's fine. He's been pretty good this season, only 8,500 going up against New Orleans, one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They play at a fast pace. I think he's an okay option. I think Brandon Ingram's an okay option. Devin Booker, probably not going to be interested in Devin Booker versus Denver. But I like Spencer Dinwiddie here at 7,700. He's pretty much been a core play for me every single game that Kyrie Irving's been out, and that is going to continue. He's been massive chalk as the main guy in this offense with no Kyrie Irving or Karis LeVert, and he's been good. 50 points versus Indy, 41 points versus Charlotte, and then he had 36 versus Sacramento, which isn't great, but he only played 28 minutes in that game. So 28 minutes, still got 36 fantasy points. That's not too bad. It's not like he played 35 minutes and only scored 36. So I like Spencer Dinwiddie a lot here. He's been a usage monster the past 3 games, 31% usage rate on average, and his price is rising. He was 6K, then he was 7,200, then 7,600, but his price only went up 100 because they only had about 36. He only had like a 36-point game last time out, so price didn't go up too much. And I honestly think he could be priced in the 8K range, so I think at 7,700, I still think he's a decent play here. Not a decent play, he's a very good play. And Brooklyn is 3rd fastest pace of play, so I do like that because New York does play slow, but Brooklyn should look to push the pace here. And New York's not the best defensive team in the world, not terrible though, but not the best. So I do think Spencer Dinwiddie should have no problem here. 7,700, I expect him to be popular again, and I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped 40 to 50 fantasy points again because the guy has just been great when he is the only guy on the court. Well above a point per minute with Kyrie Irving and Karis LeVert off the court. So Spencer Dinwiddie, another core play for me as of right now. Bogdanovic is going to miss this game. He is doubtful. So Buddy Hield at 7,200. That would obviously prop some interest in him. And I just love using guys versus Washington. They are a disaster on defense. They have a 238-point total. And this is just your typical Washington-Vegas total. I mean, whenever a team's playing Washington, no matter who it is, the game's high scoring. Even Charlotte, out of all teams, put up a ton of points versus Washington recently. And they're just the 2nd worst defense in total for fantasy points given up, but they are 30th versus shooting guards, which, that's what Buddy Hield is. And this is a pace-up spot. Sacramento plays extremely slow, 29th in pace, but Washington is 7th, so I do like that. Now, Buddy Hield, he is an inconsistent player, but he is capable of having big games. I mean, look, 23, 26, that sucks. Decent spots too versus Phoenix and Brooklyn. But versus Boston, 57, LA 38, 26, 32, 36. But Bogdanovic's out, so I do expect Buddy Hield should get you 30 to 40 points here with upside of more, depending on how hot he is from the perimeter. Past 2 games, he has not been hitting threes. 1 for 8 versus Brooklyn, 1 for 7 versus Phoenix. But 7 for 12 versus Boston, you saw him have a big game. 6 for 14 versus LA, 38 points, not too bad. 2 for 11, 26 points. So it's really going to depend on if he's hitting his threes. But he's going to play big minutes. We've seen him play big minutes when needed. 38 minutes versus Boston, 38 minutes versus LA. So I do like him. And with no Bogdan, Ariza, or De'Aaron Fox, he's going to have to shoulder the load here. And he's been about a point per minute this year, 27% usage rate. But I would expect that to rise without those guys on the court. So I think Buddy Hield is a fantastic option at 7,200. And then, let's see. Not a lot of guys I like in this range. Lou Williams. I like Lou Williams just really tonight. Rashawn Holmes would be interesting. Washington is just terrible down low, and he's been solid. He's typically in the 25 to 30 point range, but he does have upside of over 40 in decent matchups. Versus Phoenix, they're not very good versus big men. He scored 45 fantasy points. Versus Brooklyn, they're also not very good versus big men. 28 fantasy points, but that's not too bad. 6,200, it's a little tough of a price to pay here, but I do think he's okay just because Washington is so bad down low, and he's seeing minutes around 30 minutes per game, sometimes more, sometimes less, just depends on how the game's going. But I do think he can get you a double-double here versus Washington. I think Sacramento's going to be able to put up a lot of points here, so is Washington. It should be back and forth game. It's a close spread, fast-paced game, no defense, well, at least from the Washington side of the ball. So I think Rashawn Holmes is fine, so is his teammate at 6K. It's just really the same thing here. He's going to play, roughly about 30 minutes here, and he's been in the 25 to 30 point range typically, but he does have upside of more, just like Holmes does. 39, 31, 21, 26, 43, 20. Well, that's when his minutes weren't all the way up there because of injuries. But now, 36 minutes, 23, 31, 31, 31. I think he's a fine play, 6K, kind of just like Holmes. It's a tougher price to pay. I don't love paying 6K for him, but I think he's a fine option. RJ Barrett, though, he comes in at 6,100. I played him last night, and I was very upset with him for a large portion of this game because he was sitting at like 10 points for the longest time or something like that, and he ended up with 28 points, so I can't complain there. It was his best game since November 16th, so I'll take it. Not too bad, 26 points from RJ Barrett. I'm watching my recording in my face. My lips are not matching up with my words, so hopefully it's not like this in the video. Hopefully it's just catching up as of right now, but hopefully. But anyway, RJ Barrett, he's never exciting, but he is pretty safe for cash games, I should say. He's seeing 34 minutes per game. 0.9 points per minute on the season, a 24% usage rate. And this is a pace-up spot for New York. He's 28th in pace. New York's 20th in pace of play, which is third slowest in the league, and Brooklyn is third. So I always like guys on pace-up spots. And Brooklyn is 27th versus point guards and 21st versus shooting guards. So this is a good matchup. I think he's probably going to get you about 30 points. He's 6,100. I don't mind RJ Barrett here. We've seen him have some bigger games as well. So RJ Barrett is on my radar as of right now. And then going down a little bit, don't love a lot of these guys, so we're going to go into the 4K range. And I think Mitchell Robinson's another Nick here. I think he is in play. He's only 4,700, and it's just really a big man versus Brooklyn, as they are 25th versus centers this season. I do have him close for 25 minutes tonight. That might be a little aggressive, but we've seen him get that before, so maybe like 20 to 25 minutes is just a better medium projection, and he's been very good while he's on the court. 1.28 points per minute, which is very, very good for someone that's 4,700. Like I said, pace up spot versus Brooklyn, who was third in pace. He's a little on off, so I don't think he's a safe cash game option, but I do think in GPPs he's a pretty fine option. 25 versus San Antonio, 12 versus Philly, 24 versus Cleveland, 38 versus Charlotte, which was a really good matchup for big men. He scored 38, then 27 versus Dallas, 12, 22, 17, 27, 25. So he's a little iffy, but I do think he's a pretty decent GPP play just because how good he's been on a point per minute basis, and it's a good matchup versus Brooklyn. And scrolling down a little bit, Frank Kaminsky, he should draw the start with Aaron Baines being out, but I just don't love playing guys versus Denver. I mean, the past 3 games he scored over 20 points, which isn't too bad. So if you want to play him, not the worst play in the world, but I don't love the spot for him. But I do like Tyler Johnson here, assuming Ricky Rubio is out, which he's missed the past 2 games, so I'm going to imagine he is. And if so, Tyler Johnson will draw the start here. The past 2 games, he's averaged 30 minutes per game and scored 26 and 19 fantasy points. That's nothing fantastic in the slightest, but there is not a lot of value plays on the slate. I know Denver is a tough defense, but they're 15th versus point guards, and I do think Tyler Johnson is a decent play here, and I would expect him to be popular as long as Ricky Rubio is out. So Tyler Johnson will be on my radar. And really, that's about it. There's one value guy I'm looking at though, and it's going to be Justin James. He comes in at 3,400. And this is just because of Bogdanovic's going to be out, Trevor Ariza, De'Aaron Fox, so this is going to open up some more minutes. And he saw 33 minutes last game, and before that he was seeing 3, 2, 7, 3, so he was just non-existent. But last game, 33 minutes. So I like that jump there. And he scored 24 fantasy points, not bad for someone that was absolute bare minimum at 3K. And he took 14 shots as well, so I do like to see the shot volume. And it's a very small sample size, but he has been about 0.9 points per minute this season, and I do have him for about 30 minutes tonight. So I think he should very easily get you over 20 fantasy points tonight. So Justin James would be my top value play as of right now. Maybe some more things will open up throughout the day, but I do like Justin James at 3,400. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I think it was more of a shorter video, but this was a small slate, and I'm very busy with NFL today. So like I said, if you haven't checked out the NFL videos, check them out. And I also have spreadsheets for that as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Wish you guys the best of luck. And last night, I barely got into the cash line, man. It was so close. If Donovan Mitchell would have hit one more three, he kept breaking at the end of the game. If he would have hit one more three, I was done, but just got on there. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Best of luck, and have a great Sunday.